5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Oh, good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone. Oh, I look like I'm stuffed in a sausage casing. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to a special Labor Day edition of the Splash and Dash Morning Show, post Southern 500. Southern 500 NPIR this weekend at the in the Cup and Xfinity Series. Sorry, we're just getting our brain fired up this morning. Just getting our brain fired up, getting everybody in here. It's all exciting. Come on in, sit right down. Good morning, Robert. How we doing? We're going to be talking a little bit about the 19 team. Chase Briscoe last night. Absolutely belt to ass dominant performance. 300 something laps led. I mean, when is the last time you saw a driver go just flag to flag like that at Darlington? I don't know. It's been a while. That car in open air, it looked a lot like what William Byron was trying to do earlier this year. So exciting stuff for the 19. I think that's, I don't know, to win that race two back to back. Pretty impressive. Pretty impressive for the 19 team. We broke out the Bass Pro gear today. Tip our cap. Tip our cap to the mans. I'll tell you what, this is one of these weeks where I don't have a ton of hot takes for everybody this morning. Not something that's on the docket for me is the hot take train. I do have one hot take that people probably won't love, but we'll save that as an Xfinity Series hot take. But let's go through some here. We also have an interview with Cap today. If we want to listen to that, hold on, if I can find it. Oh boy, Sal feels very unprepared today. Yeah, we'll find it. We'll find it as we go along. But yeah, I know. Let's start in the truck series. Yeah, Corey Heim time again. How many wins does this kid have this year now? I stopped counting after like the 5th or 6th one. I mean, absolutely just blowing everyone out of the water in the truck series. Corey Heim wins again at Darlington. Daniel Hemrick, another second place effort for Daniel Hemrick. We saw him do this earlier this year at a road course too, where he finished right up behind Corey Heim. Grant Enfinger, Ty Majeski, Trevor Bayne, a blast from the past, back in the number 1 truck. That felt so weird to see Trevor Bayne come back. Tanner Gray finished 6th. Tyler Ankrum finished 7th. Timmy Hill, top 10 for Timmy Hill. What is this? iRacing days again? Give it to me. 8th place. Corey Day in 9th, and Jake Garcia round out the top 10. We had no Frankie Muniz in the trucks this week. Frankie fell from a ladder trying to replace the batteries in his Ring doorbell or his Ring camera at his home. Poor guy falls over, breaks his wrist, can't race. Have you ever heard of something so insane? Like honey-do list injuries that cause you not to race? Banana Town. Corey LaJoy was in this race in that 7. I keep forgetting Corey LaJoy's finishing up the season for Spire. He finished in 20th. And Caden Honeycutt in that 18 or in that 52 truck finished 18th this week. So Darlington is one of those tracks that like either you get it or you don't. One driver who did get it last night was absolutely AJ Allmendinger, right? We'll talk about AJ as we go along today. Before we start running around and going back over to Darlington, let's head out west. PIR. What did we think of the Connor Zilich little zigzag move there to get out of the way, of everybody? He did it twice on 2 restarts. Did we think that was fair or foul? Track limits penalties? Does it deserve a track limits penalty? He gained time going around the A-frame signs in the middle of that turn instead of staying on track. I don't know. In what is designed to be a runoff for safety, our mans was out here gaining time over the field by avoiding the calamity in turn 1. Now, don't get me wrong. That's a big brain move. I do think it is big brain and very smart of Zilich and his team to sit there and take advantage of. But I do feel like that's cutting the corner. I don't know why that's not a stop and go unless you are avoiding some major piece of destruction. I love Connor. I think he's great. I love the racing. I love what they've been able to do at JRM this year. I guess if you're going to do it in practice and it's something that's being talked about, amongst the team and the series, but like, do you have to make an attempt to make the corner? I don't know. I think I'm just confused by it because it's not a stop and go. Like, you just kind of yeet through it, go a little further over to the one side, and then you just pop back on the track and skibbity skibbeet right back on and keep on hauling. Austin Hill looked like a weapon out there, though, so I guess I would have cut down too and tried to get out of the way because it didn't look great for whatever was happening in that corner. I know it's the rules. I'm just making a point that every other road course we go to, it's been a little different. So it's a little different to see. I mean, I'm super happy you won. I love the racing that they're putting on. That 88 team is absolutely putting belt to ass just every week. Now I'm starting to hear things. Maybe I'm having a stroke. Just putting belt to ass every week, and it's they turned the fastest lap at Portland this weekend by almost a full second faster than anybody else. So that car is set up. That driver is set up for success each and every week, and it's just this is what I said last week too. Like if this driver does not win this championship, we have problems in the Xfinity Series and in the Truck Series. Corey Heim, if Corey Heim does not win the Truck Series championship, there are serious problems with the Truck Series because these two guys in their respective series have done everything they could to just prove how dominant they are. If I'm JRM, I'm putting all my chips on Connor and Justin to start a cup team. Maybe I'm crazy. I'm definitely crazy, for sure. You're definitely crazy. Connor's with Trackhouse. I don't think they have the sponsorship money to go chase Cup. I don't think Brandt is committed to Justin beyond what they are already committed to him in Xfinity. Forget what Dale Jr. said. It cost him to run the 500, but I know Travelers paid a hefty sum just for that one race. So I thought we were going to see another JRM Cup entry at Daytona this year or the fall. I thought we were going to see one of the Coke Zero Sugar 400, but it started to sound like maybe, I don't know, the way that JRM like releases information like cryptically on the internet, it certainly could be construed in about 6 different ways before they actually make the announcement. But I love what Connor's doing. 70 laps led at PIR in what is probably the final NASCAR appearance at PIR. So just an absolute dominant performance. William Sawalich in 18th, or I'm sorry, in the 18, finishing second. Fairly certain. He also won. Sawalich won in the ARCA series this past week at PIR as well. Hold on. You got to help me out here for a second. There's this. I hate how I hate how different this schedules are. Okay. So August 31st. No, they were at DuQuoin State Fairgrounds. Lawless Allen beat Brendan Butterbean Queen. Why did I think they were at a road course this weekend? Is there like an Arca Menard? Oh yeah, the West Series. Arca Menard Series West was at Portland. Sawalich won the pole. Thomas Annunziata, who's a local to me, so we're gonna be biased for Thomas. Gets shimmy shuffled out of the way by William Sawalich there as they were kind of running through the S's at one point. Those two drivers absolutely just beating and banging on each other. And Sawalich got out and away long enough for Annunziata not to get back to him. So that's a little ARCA news as well. Everyone wants to talk about Carson Hocevar and the Southern 500. We're 17 minutes into the show. We're already on the Cup Series. We can though. So I have an opinion. I mean, the Hocevar stuff to me wasn't super egregious last night. I didn't think it was anything really off the rails. Chase Elliott put him in a really tough spot trying to get around there. I mean, Elliott's running a lane off the wall trying to set him up. Like, I don't know. I get Hocevar's trying to put him into a pick there on the top line, but that's the slower line. He's on the bottom. And I thought Elliott come down to him and got him out of shape, to be honest with you. But what happened after that is residual. Like he's got to cut way down the bottom of that track. He's losing a ton of speed, a ton of momentum, and now he's got to play catch up. Worldwide, yeah, St. Louis is next weekend. Yes. I mean, I saw what happened with him in Buescher, where he like tried to rise back up and stay ahead of Buescher there. It's like I get that. I didn't love that move, but I get it because he's trying to not lose a ton of track position. Pit road in general was interesting last night. There was a certain point where I messaged the group and I was like, this is a wild pit road. I mean, Bell and Hocevar. I mean, we saw Brad K getting serviced by a Penske pit box at one point. Alex Bowman had a 40-second stop on pit road. That was not awesome. I don't know. There were some interesting things on pit road. Denny Hamlin's team. Who was the one with the air gun? Yeah, that was Bowman. But the 11 team not having a good night on pit road or in general. That car just didn't seem like it was fast after a certain point. Still finished 7th, though. But yeah, crazy. I loved seeing the race run green for the most part. The Bell Hocevar thing on pit road was tough, right? Who's in the right, who's in the wrong? I don't know. Hocevar's coming in, Bell's coming out. Like, I get it's not, they're not happy, but it's a narrow pit road. It's one of the hardest to get up and down, and there's going to be stuff that happens. Same deal with, who was it? The 38 or the 34? One coming in, one coming out. You got to stop and wait, and people are stacking up behind them. Hocevar was just trying to get to the front. He had the car that was fast. It felt like a fast car, not the fast car, but definitely had a fast car and just wasn't happy that he was getting beat up along the way trying to get to the front. But that's what's going to happen to him. But Chase Briscoe wins this race in the 19. I mean, absolutely just one of the most dominant wins I've seen out of the 19 car in a while. This took me back. This took me back to that old 19 days. Tyler Reddick, I was really pulling for Tyler at the end to make this a drag race down the front stretch. We were sitting here watching it last night and just trying to see how much time could he make up through the center of the corner. Like it was like a yo-yo effect, right? And they mentioned it on the broadcast too. But he's not as fast on the back stretch and the front stretch, but through the center of the corner, he could turn the car way better than Briscoe could, or he could carry more speed than Briscoe could through the center of the corner, which was interesting to watch that gap really tighten up and then kind of get back and then tighten up, then get back. And then the last lap, he gets almost door to door with him coming through 3 and 4, which I don't know. It's just, it's like you say, though, it's really hard. These cars don't love to pass. The way that they pass. And it was interesting. You saw that kind of on display too, as Briscoe's running he ran at the front all day. It's like, what does this car look like in traffic? We never found out. The only time we saw the car in traffic was when he was coming around on lap cars. So that kind of affected things and helped Reddick kind of get back up to him a little bit, which I was kind of interested in seeing how much of a factor it would play. But Chase Briscoe led 309 laps of the Darlington of this Darlington race, of this Southern 500. But there wasn't a ton of passing through the back of the field. No, you're right. There was a lot of attempts. There was moments where I think Kyle Busch was trying to pass Denny, and they ran side by side for a couple laps, and then you saw it just wasn't sustainable. And then there were moments with AJ Allmendinger. There were moments with Hocevar running next to Ross for a while there in the third stage where you couldn't really make the pass work, just burning your stuff up on the bottom. So it was interesting. I thought it was a good race overall, Darlington. I thought it was a great weekend for trucks and for Cup. This track produces great racing, but it was really rough to see. It was really rough to see kind of that struggle happen. Yeah, the 19 did look like a Truex, a classic Truex performance, didn't it? I got that feeling about halfway through. I was like, this is familiar. Everybody always hated when he got out and away because it was like the most boring wins. There were never any fun, exciting wins because he would just roll off the truck fast and that was it. But that 19 team knows a thing or two about coming to Darlington correct and some of the setups, and I guess Briscoe is comfortable in the car. Toyota, though, a great night for Toyota across the board. 4 Toyotas in the top 5 for Team Toyota. That was a big one. Donnie, that's diabolical, Donnie. I got to tell you. I think Briscoe, like last week we talked a little bit about dark horses, and I didn't include him in my dark horses because I don't think he's a dark horse. People are like, oh, he won't make it to the Final Four. He has just as much a chance of making it to late rounds of the playoffs as anyone else, I think. I don't think the 19 is an easy out in any of these rounds, And that win, what is it? The driver who wins the first round of the playoffs or the first race in the playoffs, 5 out of the last 8 have gone on to win the championship. Something like that. Some crazy stat they read off in Victory Lane last night or on by the start finish line. I think it would hurt my soul to know that the 19 was finally set up to win another championship and Truex wasn't driving it, but that to the same tone, who knows if Truex could have driven it the same way, considering all the different things that are happening with the car and his driving style and everything. But car looked good on track. I like that Star Spangled Awesome machine, the 19 Bass Pro machine. So that was one of the better American flag schemes I've seen them run over the last couple of years. So that was cool. Oh, okay. 5 of the last 8 first race winners in the playoffs. 5 of the last 8 have made the Final Four. There you go. Perfect. Morning, Jason. Yes, I think it's a statement win for that 19 team for sure. They went out and got Briscoe at a time when it seemed like there was going to be a lot of drivers on the market, and they knew exactly who they wanted. And this is why they got their guy. I remember watching Briscoe in the Xfinity series when he was in that 98 car. Right? The 98, was that it? Or was the 01, the Ford, the Mustang? He won an Xfinity Series championship, and he was whooping. He was whooping out there. So he's got the talent. It's just a matter of the equipment. So who's your favorite to win the championship right now? I personally would like the 11 to win the championship. That's my personal take on it. I think it's going to be too close to call at the end. It's going to be tight. But we did see some unexpected folks up here in the top 5, right? Not unexpected. I shouldn't say unexpected. Some non-traditional top 5 finishers. Eric Jones, like when he breathes the Darlington, South Carolina air, turns into LeBron James, I guess. He's won the Southern 500 twice. So the 43 being at the front, like, should not surprise any of us because that boy is a wheelman, especially at this track. Good for Legacy Motor Club, honestly. Just very, very happy for them. The 42, John Hunter Nemechek, finished in 5th. The 42, the 43 and the 42 finish in 4th and 3rd and 4th, respectively. I mean, what a night for that team. I remember when, everybody remembers Legacy comes in, they're a Chevy back team. They're not getting the support. There's tension. There's people are upset that they're not getting the same results as a 2311. That's also a new team. Then Legacy jumps over to Toyota, and then they do some other things. And now we've got Legacy Motor Club in the mix in the top 5 finishing position, both cars. I for all the criticisms that people have of Legacy and what they do and maybe the level of competition they've had, I've been an advocate for John Hunter for a long time. The talent level is absolutely there for both drivers. I think Eric Jones is one of the most underrated Cup drivers in the field. He won races at JGR, just not in the right place at the right time at certain points of his career, seemingly to capitalize beyond that. But in that 43 car, it's working. It took some time to get there. But yes, they have run top 10 a lot of the year at certain tracks. They seem to be a part of this mindset where they roll off the truck for tracks that they know that they can be competitive, which is I would do too. If you only have limited resourcing and you only have to win a certain number of races, go out to the ones you can compete at the best. And that's something we see Team Penske do. They know they only have to win a certain number of races, so they're only going to go out there and win a certain number of races. So you see that here, at least with Legacy. They came correct here tonight, doing their best. I thought the 43 could have won this race in the snap of a finger. Eric Jones could have been a victory lane last night. I don't think it wasn't like he wasn't competitive. He was just riding around 6 seconds behind the leader. Xfinity race was late on Saturday because it was at Portland on the West Coast. Unless they started late there too, but that's why it was late for me. AJ Allmendinger also in the 16 Kaulig Cup car in the Chevy in a top 5 position, ran great all night at Darlington. They had mentioned on the broadcast, made mention of it, that he didn't like Darlington for a long time and finally started to get accustomed to it in the Xfinity car over the last couple of years. Gets accustomed to it, and this is more than accustomed to it now. This 16 car, very few mistakes on pit road. No mistakes on pit road, really. Very few mistakes on track. Just out there grinding away. AJ Allmendinger just, I don't know. AJ Allmendinger is another driver who is one that I feel like is underrated too. But Alan Gustafson is cooked. Stop the regular season points delusion. It was a rough night for Chase Elliott, I will say. Chase Elliott finished 17th last night. I have an opinion about that 9 car, and it's not one that people want to hear. You might get it out of me today if you know. I have an opinion on that 9 car, and people don't want to hear it, and they don't want to know about it, and, you know. We'll get to that. Anyway, Bubba Wallace, what a night for Bubba in the 23. That car, first of all, I hope Bubba won just so I could pre-order a win car for that scheme. That car rules. Somebody just asked me what my favorite scheme of the night was. This is that right up there. I think Ross Chastain's was my favorite. The Bush, or the old throwback Bush scheme. But the 23 of Bubba Wallace with the Air Force scheme, they do not miss these Air Force schemes. They are so good. There's something about, and I say it all the time, I'm sitting over here looking at all my diecasts, just flat black, gray, black race cars with minimal branding. Doesn't have to be covered in a million different logos. That Air Force scheme is one. It's one sponsor, right? They have the lettering is on the right rear and the left rear, and the bomber is on the side of the door, and then now they have this V pattern on the hood. That car looks so sweet ripping around out there. I would love to see them run every race as a sponsor for the 23, and I'm sure that 2311 would love to see that sponsorship run every race too. But it looks so good. It looks so good, and it fits really well. But Bubba had a great night. This is a driver who, after the Brickyard, this is a new person. It feels like a new driver behind the helmet, where there's less pressure and there's a lot of different things that they're trying. And early on in the race, Bubba was making strong, aggressive moves that you probably wouldn't advise, right? But he knows he needs to be at the front, and he knows his stuff is good enough, and he's doing what he needs to do out there to get up front. And yeah, he's winning in life, and nothing else matters. And that is something for him, I think, that is putting him in a place inside of the race car where he's winning in the race. He's going to win in the race car. Like, I get this guy's not out there, beating down the door, winning every weekend. Who is? But the performance has improved. I mean, over the years, it's improved consistently. It's gotten consistently better for him. But this year in particular, I feel like it has made a gigantic leap forward for him and that 23 team and just the whole group. But we started talking about him because he's on our list here, finishing 6th here at the Southern 500. Great looking car last night. Wonderful performance for him. I think that 6th is a great finish for him. He could have finished in the top 5 last night, depending on pit cycles. He had the car for it. So I think if you're Bubba Wallace, this is a great way to start your playoff for a guy that a lot of people are sitting back and looking at and saying, hey, this guy's going to be out in the first round. So, it's like this is a big swing, which is dope. I'm happy for Bubba. What are we talking about, Chief? What's the segment about? Let me get it. Let me get on there. Let me get a little soundbite from me. Throw it up there. He's gotten his place to listen to advice from peers, and then success helped. Yeah, I think a lot of the stuff for Bubba off the track has helped tremendously. Got to be hard to race for a team too that's involved in a lawsuit, which there's some lawsuit news that you saw. For those who didn't see the little short form piece that I come out with last week, there were some spicy texts released between NASCAR and 2311 and whoever. So that's heating up. But to kind of just block all that out and know, like, I'm just going to go out and run the car every week. And it's awesome to see him have so much success. I love seeing Freddie Kraft have fun too. I think that Freddie Kraft is like, NASCAR Santa Claus sometimes. If he's having a good time, everybody's having a good time, especially on the podcast and everything that he does through Dirty Mo. But Denny Hamlin, for the night that he had, the car that he had, at the front of the field to start this race. For the night he had, I think a 7th place finish is respectable. Just driving that thing as hard as he could through the field to try to make it up. Had problems on pit road. Just the car didn't want to turn for him. Got us some damage. Absolutely just had to battle through. So a 7th place finish for him, probably not what he's going to want, right? You can listen to him on Actions Detrimental this week, and he's going to probably not be too thrilled. But I think if you're going to get it all out of the way now, get all the yips out now, and run smooth and be good the rest of the time, because I don't know. I think there's something special in that 11 car this postseason. I do. People think I'm crazy, but I do think there's something to that 11 team this year. Thank you. This was a tent find, a $30 tent find. Just my little button up, you know. But yeah, Denny, I think, is in a good spot, 7th place. Kyle Busch finishing in 8th. Ladies, if your man's is a Kyle Busch fan, just treat him right today, you know? Be kind to him, because this was a great night for Kyle Busch fans. It was a big rebound effort for that RCR team. Turn 1, lap 1, right? He's sideways through, spun around at the back of the field, and it's like, you can't make this up. Like, you can't make up the misfortune of Kyle Busch this year. And I'm glad, happy to see that Morgan & Morgan yellow. That thing is like a highlighter on wheels. You cannot miss it as it comes flying through. Kyle Busch was the one who was going to challenge Briscoe late last year on the final lap. That car just seemed to be right last year. So you knew Kyle had some chops on him to get it done here, but really glad for him with the top 10. Still crazy to me how Alex Bowman, I was a pit road issue for Bowman this weekend. Still not super impressed with the A team. Sad these are the final years. I'm not overall impressed, like throughout the course of the year. They have these flashes of success at certain places, at certain moments, and it's great to see that. But the consistency for anything RCR has been way off, way off the last year or two, especially in what we've seen Kyle Busch do, where, he came into RCR that first year, he won races. He was doing well. But the consistency level since then, even Austin Dillon, Austin Dillon wins at Richmond. That's a great win for the 3. Like, let's get the 3 back up at the front. Like, Austin Dillon can race, John Ray, good morning. How we doing? But, Austin Dillon can race. And it's like, just not getting that replicated performance every week. It's not easy, but it just seems like there's something kind of, the wires aren't totally connected there to make that happen right now. Carson Hocevar finished 9th after a up and down night. Well, I think, before we move on to Carson Hocevar, RCR, Austin Dillon talked about it a little bit in a press conference a few weeks ago after his Richmond win. And I think he kind of alluded to the fact, I don't think it's a secret. I think they alluded to the fact that there's some business decisions that Austin and Ty are trying to become more involved in, because Richard is getting to a point in his career where maybe it's time to kind of transition over things to somebody new and evolve, I think is the word that Austin used, kind of continue to push the team forward into the future. And I think there's nothing wrong with that. I think they know what they have to do. It's just, there might be some blockers, and I don't envy their situation to a certain degree, because it's a family business. It's not easy to go in there and argue with your grandpa. And I get that. That can't be an easy situation to have to deal with at certain times. Now, I don't envy them, because I wish my grandpa owned a NASCAR Cup Series team. That part of it, I have a hard time being sympathetic to, like, oh, these are awful problems to have. But, you never want to fight with your family. And I think there's some things that are you picking their battles, and there's some things worth fighting for. And there's some things that, maybe might happen all on their own. So, as time goes on, I think we'll see better performance out of the RCR camp. It's just going to take some time. It's going to take some transition. It's just going to be one of those deals where there's going to have to be some changes, and it's just, it is what it is. Toyotas were on fire all weekend. Yes, yes, yes. Stage breaks. Yeah, I don't know. The stage breaks are never going. They're not going away. I don't think you're getting rid of stage breaks. I think that conversation has been kind of exhausted to the very furthest extent of what it is. I don't think you're getting anything additional there. All right. Anyway, 9th place, Carson Hocevar, who was kind of all over the place at one point of this race earlier, in the stages, gets into it with Elliott a little bit there, bottles him up. Elliott bottles him up back. People are going to point the finger at Carson. I just think this was one of those racing situations that drivers put each other in to make them uncomfortable. And I don't know. I don't think it's like Carson's out there to just right rear hook everybody. I think he's just doing what he can to not lose as much track position as what Chase Elliott would like to see him lose by playing defense on him the way he did. So the Carson Hocevar takes, I'm sure, are going to be hot this week. The car looked great. It made me want a triple dipper. So the marketing's working on me, that's for sure. What's our triple dipper orders, by the way? Can we talk about it? I hadn't been to Chili's in 10 years until Dover. I stopped at Chili's in Newark, Delaware on the way back. First of all, shouts to the Newark, Delaware Chili's. Fantastic facility there. Presidente Margarita was icy cooled. I mean, just triple dipper came out steaming hot, delicious. Sauce to wing ratio was very high. It was very good. A lot of good coverage across the entire triple dipper platter array of items. I'm a Southwest egg rolls kind of guy. I need some Nashville chicken, the tendies, Nashville hot and sweet, whatever that is, and I get those mozzarella bricks. They're not sticks; they're bricks. You can build a small structure with enough of those things. And then I usually get sliders. That's a big man's meal right there. That's a big man's meal. Anyway, Carson Hocevar in 9th. He's absolutely, now, for all the criticism of Carson Hocevar, he absolutely, one thing can be said that is absolutely undeniably true about him week in and week out is that he is outdriving that equipment in that 77 machine. Considering where the other drivers in that camp are finishing. We saw some flashes from McDowell in this race. Didn't really last. Justin Haley has been, it has been an interesting season for him. But Carson Hocevar has absolutely, the talent is there. There needs to be some refining on the racecraft side, maybe, but this kid is pushing the limit of what Spire is able to do in that cup program. So good for him. Good for them. Excited to see that team develop further in that 77. Spire in general is one of these interesting new teams that's into a lot of different pieces of the racing world. Triple dipper is the best from Chili's. What's the triple dipper order? I need triple dipper orders. Give them to me. I need a list of triple dipper orders. I'm going to DM Chili's. We're going to talk about it. Anyway, a good night for Carson. I thought just he kept his nose out of trouble after he got in trouble. Like, he didn't get all pissed off and then stay up there and like make a problem. They regrouped. They reloaded a little bit. They worked their way back through. Little spat is okay. That's racing, but it didn't turn into a disaster. People need to start putting respect on Bubba's name. Dude got so much better. We were just talking about Bubba and how meteoric of a rise he has had in I don't know, just attitude change, skills change. I don't know what you call that. I don't know how you quantify it, but it's better, and we love it, and we're here for it. Plus, that Air Force car looked so good on track. Still can't get over it. Chris Buescher in that 17 for RFK. RFK just kind of an up and down night for them. Ross Chastain finished 11th. Austin Cindric in 12th. Good start to his playoff, honestly. Zane Smith in 13th. Gregson in 14th. Those two drivers just outside the top 10 for FRM. That's a good day for them. Brad Keselowski, 15th. Priest in 16th. Chase Elliott in 17th. Now, I know there's some people who want to talk about Chase Elliott, so I'll let all the Chase fans get in here. Chase Elliott. I'll say it a few times so it populates their For You page. Chase Elliott. Alan Gustafson. Everybody's ears are perked up now. I have a hot take about the 9. I think it's a driver issue. I think the whole thing is a problem. I think the driver crew chief pairing is a problem, and the whole thing is a problem. I don't know how else to break it down anymore. I don't know how else to explain it to people. Like, we've talked about it on this show many times. Chase Elliott is a great driver, but he's obviously not up to the standard of the fan base and what they feel his win percentage should be. So at the point I'm at now is if there's an issue on the pit box, you just have to clean the whole thing out. Just if there's issues in the pit box, there's issues on the pit box, in the pit, the team's not performing well. Chase Elliott's, it's not easy to go out there and make up that time back. But if people are so upset about it, they need to just change the whole thing, I think. I don't know what's going to make them better. My fear for the Chase Elliott fans is they do make a change to the Gustafson leadership on the pit box, right? My fear is that it won't get better. Like, who are you going to put up there? Who's going to go up there? Who are you going to put up there that isn't already on someone else's pit box? Cliff Daniels is not going to come off that five box ever. He'll retire on top of that box. This is the problem, though. Like, everybody wants Gustafson gone, but I'm not sure you're going to get somebody in there who's going to fix it. And even if they did, this is not a turnkey solution for a driver in a playoff scenario. Now, maybe this offseason you hear rumblings about them thinking about making a change, but I really don't think so. I really don't think so. I don't know. I like spouting off my hot takes. I like saying silly things to get people going on here. But I don't know what more can be done for that 9 team. The strategy calls have been questionable, for sure. I agree. At certain points this year, in certain races. But unless you're going to put somebody new in the car and you're going to change things on the pit box in a big, big way, and you're going to get somebody who's turnkey, I don't know what the solution is. Chase Elliott led the points for a long way there this year. The strategy worked a long way this year. In crunch time moments, when the lights are shining the brightest, the teams have to perform the best. That's what I hear the playoffs are all about. And if that's what it is all about, then there has to be changes made. I don't know. I get what you're saying. It's not a regular season championship, so you have to adapt to the way that the format is putting your driver in. The format to the situation that your driver is in. But, yeah, Rudy Fugle though worked with Byron when he was racing trucks and he was doing all kinds of things. So there's history there. I mean, I don't know who else kind of Chase Elliott is comfortable with and has history with, where they can have like a good cohesive relationship with one another. I know that chemistry is definitely part of what helps get things done. I think a lot of the drivers struggle with the new car because it doesn't drive the same. You can't drive it the same as the Gen 6 car. And I think for some drivers, it shows. That's all. Well, there's less power, right? You can't drive it off the right rear like the old days. Um, there's a lot of differences, and I think that's why you see a lot of some of the legacy drivers, like the veteran drivers. Um, when we had that little tire incident at Bristol last season, right? You saw the cream rise to the top because that gave us the closest product to like old school racing that we had. It's why that race finished the way it did. And those same drivers aren't finishing up front every single week. One of those drivers is retired. And I think a couple more of those veteran drivers are on their way to retirement too, if things continue to be as difficult as they are in terms of the aerodynamics playing such a factor, the lack of passing. Like those are things that veteran drivers have seen every version of these cars over the years. They've raced with legends of the sport over the course of time. They've seen it all. They've raced it all. They've done it all. And this is the point that they're at. And it's not everybody's cup of tea, and it's going to be hard. I know that I know that has to be the reason. I don't know. I mean, the man has never said it out loud. You never got that information from the horse's mouth, but you're telling me that Truex didn't have a couple more years of juice in him if he was competing at a high level and in contention to win championships? I think the straw that broke the camel's back for him was when he won the regular season points championship and then got knocked out of the playoffs in the first round. It's like, well, what are we doing here? You know, he's what are we doing? Um, it's like, okay, car, this is not for me anymore. I think there's drivers like that. It's starting to happen to, but we'll see. You think Zilich will fall into Cup next year? Zilich is going to Trackhouse next year. He'll be in the. Do you think Zilich CC? Who's CC? Corey, I don't know who CC is. You got to help me with that. Acronyms. It's early on a Monday, on a week off, on a long weekend. Anyway, Zilich's crew chief. I do not know. That would be surprising. I don't know. I don't know how that works. I'm sure that Zilich might want him to move over with them. But I don't know how that works going from junior to Trackhouse and the deal that they have set up, because I know there's some kind of a deal where they have some kind of an arrangement. Anyway, CC Coca. I think Connor Zilich in a Cup car will be very competitive at road courses next year. I don't know about some of the oval stuff. I think there's a learning curve there. He's been great at some of the oval stuff in the Xfinity car. We know the Xfinity car isn't exactly similar to the Cup car, but it's definitely going to give SVG some competition for sure. Ryan Preece 16th, Chase Elliott 17th. Ryan Blaney, goes for a spin down there on the front stretch, finishes 18th. Kyle Larson, who we saw in the top 2-3 in the second stage, finishes 19th. Logano 20th. William Byron, who dominated this race in the spring, finishes 21st. Ty Gibbs in 22nd. Austin Dillon in 23rd, Cole Custer 24th, Daniel Suarez 25th. Daniel Suarez's car looked like it went through a shredder last night. The front end of that car was taped up 6 ways from Sunday. Poor Christopher Bell. Christopher Bell finished in 29th last night. Alex Bowman finished in 31st. Shane Van Gisbergen finished 32nd. Josh Berry finishes 38th. Sal, take me off the ledge. I don't know if this 9 car is making it out of the first round. It's definitely going to be a fight, more of a fight than it should be. I will say that. Not getting the finish they need last night, really, to remain as competitive as I'm sure they'd like to. But Chase Elliott locks himself in. Sure doesn't make it any easier for the 9 car. So the 9 is still above the cut line, 9 points above the bubble in the playoff. I got to sneeze. I'm sorry. Sorry, violent sneezes. Just unbelievable. Anyway, Chase Elliott is 11th in the playoff now, like in terms of wins and points and the whole thing. He and Van Gisbergen are, I guess, on the bubble, flirting with the cutoff. Joey Logano, Austin Dillon, Alex Bowman, and Josh Berry all on the wrong side of the line right now. So I think there's going to be, I don't know. Darlington is a tough track to like start your playoff because it's such a unique track. It's not like it gives you a great benchmark to go off of. Like all these other races are going to be similar to it. We have Worldwide Technology next week, which is a track Penske comes correct for. They win here a lot. I would expect to see a bounce back week from Hendrick in general. You know, they just didn't have it this week, and I understand this. I don't envy any of these teams having to go through the strategy, and it's not easy to do, especially in a race like what we saw where there was just monster green flag runs, and then there was silly cautions along the way that, not silly cautions, inopportune cautions. So, it's not easy to build like a long run strategy when you're kind of betting on when cautions are going to come, which is tough. I think Toyota has something for Penske next week. Seems like that manufacturer has been on. I agree with you. I think Toyota has been on. I just feel like Penske, like they do this where they just kind of sneak in here and they fire off one or two really good ones in the playoffs. When is Kansas? Kansas is in the round of 12. That's not until the end of September. So you've got some time. We're going to St. Louis, Bristol, New Hampshire, then Kansas. So by the time we get there, we'll be four short. 4 drivers will be gone by then in the playoff. My round of 12, I mean, based on last night, my round of 12 before last night is different from my round of 12 after last night. Truly. I had Logano advancing. I don't have Van Gisbergen advancing. Where is my bracket? Do I have it up here? Playoffs. I definitely did a bracket. Is it going to show me? Oh, yeah, I did. Okay. So my round of 12 is locked. Blaney, Hamlin, Byron, Larson, Elliott, Briscoe, Reddick, Logano, Chastain, Wallace, Bell, and Bowman. I had Bowman advancing. So that would leave out Austin Dillon, Josh Berry, Shane Van Gisbergen, and Austin Cindric. Those were my first 4 out. Which could still be the case. The only one that I think I took a real chance on was the 48 to advance to the round of 12. Just something about that team. I feel like this is a great opportunity to silence some of the negativity around them, to step up to the plate and kind of get a good at bat in here in the first round of the playoffs. I don't have him in my round of 8. So I figured maybe it's a one time advancement, and it's good enough to kind of show, hey, we're here. We're not this team that should be talked about like they're going to play musical chairs with our driver. But I did have the 45 and the 23. When I said last week too that the 45 was my dark horse, people grilled me in the comments. They were like, the 45 team hasn't showed any consistency all year long. I'll tell you what, that 45 car runs like it did last night, a couple more times this playoff. You're going to see him go deep in this playoff bracket. He looked real good. That car looked real good. And I think you're going to see them come correct for St. Louis. And I think that car's going to run good at Bristol. There's some good things happening in that 2311 camp. I think there's a little bit of renewed energy in that team. We talked about Bubba Wallace before, been running really well since the Brickyard. I think the 45 now is playing catch up to the 23, where in years past it's been the opposite. So I appreciate it. Dover tents, Dover tent, little thrift find. We love it. I guess Joey Logano's now on the outside looking into. Joey always pops up at the right time though. He always pops up at the right time, gets it done. Let's see. We missing anybody over here? Appreciate everybody for tuning in this morning. I know it's Labor Day, which is, not an easy ask for people. I don't know where this video went, and I wish I did know. When was this? 7:30. That's not. I don't know. Anyway. I think the Penske cars are they're sneaky. I think they're just sneaky. They end up putting themselves in a position in the right place at the right time to do the right things and advance further than you may expect. And that's shouldn't be a surprise to anyone. I think I have Ryan Blaney in my final four for me. I mean, we could pull this up if you really want to get spicy with it. Like this is it for me. This is my round. You could hold on. Let's move this over first of all, because it's hard to see here on. Oh boy. Okay. So you can see kind of what I think in terms of trying to get the whole screen up here. I don't know why this is giving me such a hard time. Yeah, because it wants me to like put it in a window and a box and a window and a box. Stop it. Oh, computer, I hate you. Oh. No, I don't want it in that monitor. Anyway, yeah. So this is kind of what we're looking at for the round of 12 and the round of 8. That should give you both that should give everybody like a good initial feel. I mean, I think it's appropriate. I don't know. I'm happy to let the 23 surprise me. I'm happy to let that happen. I might be way off on Christopher Bell too. I don't know. I might be way off on C. Bell. I think he has the capacity to win a championship, really. But it's been kind of an up and down year for him. Last night it was tough, right? Takes damage. That's as simple as it can be to miss your shot to go on in this series. How much longer do you think Hendrick will keep Bowman around? I don't know. I think he's okay where he's sitting. I think he performs as well as he can be expected to. I think you'd like to see more out of that car, considering the legacy and the history around it. But I don't envy Alex Bowman either in that car in particular, because people expect to see Jimmy Johnson-esque performances out of a car that is no longer a Jimmy Johnson car. It's a different era. It's a different time. It's a different car. It's a different team. It's a different world. And I think the expectation for Bowman is a little higher even than what it should have been in the Hendrick, world. But the expectation is championships. It's not like go out there and win. It's go out there and win championships, multiple championships. And I think it's harder now than it's ever been to just become a dominant repeat champion. I don't think you'll ever see, a 2 or 3 time in a row champion through the playoffs format that we have now. Yeah, the 40-second stop was no good. And I'm sure there's going to be some conversations about that behind closed doors this week, competition meetings and whatever they do over there. I'm sure there's going to be some unhappy people. I think all the drivers who enter these legendary car numbers have a hard time at the beginning because there's a tremendous amount of pressure. When Chase Elliott stepped into the 24, you're never going to get somebody who's going to instantly come in and replicate a Jeff Gordon or a Jimmy Johnson or a Tony Stewart or even a Mark Martin of the world. Like, the racing pedigree. It's really tough. Chase Briscoe won the race last night. Chase Briscoe. 19, Joe Gibbs Racing, Toyota Camry. It's amazing that Cookout sponsors Darlington and Bobby Labonte works for JGR. I mean, I wouldn't put your tinfoil hat on too hard. I don't think that's a crazy thing to think like influence the outcome of the race. That car was head and shoulders faster than the rest of the field, which is, crazy, but somebody else asked a question in here, and I think I missed it. Penske focuses on Phoenix all year. Any tracks close to it, they usually win. Yeah. Take back what I said earlier. Hendrick hasn't been all that great at Gateway. Am I wrong? I don't know. See who won at Gateway earlier this year. We've been to Gateway already, haven't we? Talladega, Texas, Kansas, Charlotte, Nashville, Autodromo, Chicago. No, we haven't been there yet, have we? Nope. Well, let's see. Let's see about a few of our former winners. I mean, Logano and Kyle Busch, 2022, 2023. Was it Cindric last year or Cindric last year won, right? It's not going to give me like a list of years, is it? Yeah, Cindric won last year. The first Hendrick car to finish, highest finishing Hendrick car at that track last year was Kyle Larson in 10th. So I think this is a Penske weekend coming up. I think this is it. I think you got a Penske weekend happening at St. Louis. They're never going to take stage racing away. They're not going to do that. I don't have an opinion on it either way. Stage racing is about the fourth or fifth thing on my list of things I'd like to see different. But I don't know. I would not hold your breath. I would not hold your breath on seeing stage racing go away throughout any of the series, the way that the current car is configured and the racing is happening right now. That I've seen a lot too, is where you keep the stage racing but get rid of the brakes. That I've seen quite a bit of. Which I don't hate that idea. I think that idea can happen. I think it can make sense to do. What's your list looking like? What kind of list? What list are we talking about? Bracket? This guy won 3 races in his career, most laps out of Darlington in over 60 years. Yeah, I mean, Briscoe, there was nobody who was better than him last night. Like he was the best driver in the best car. Oh, my list to change NASCAR? So, like, the horsepower, first of all. Give the drivers more horsepower. Give the cars more drive. I think is the first thing for me, which I don't know if we'll ever get. But it's on my list. The second is the playoff format. I think that there needs to be, I'm not saying abolish bracket playoff format. It's not my favorite, but there's also things that we can do to tweak it to make a full slate of races worth more than the final 16 or the final whatever races, at the end of the year. 10 weeks, right? Is our playoff. 10 weeks is the playoff in NASCAR. So I think that's something that can change. I hope it changes. And I think through playoff media day, there were some drivers who were talking about it. Christopher Bell came right out and was like, yeah, I don't agree with it. It's like, people are starting to put their money where their mouth is a little bit in terms of their opinions. It's not just Sal yapping on TikTok talking about how just complaining about stuff. There's people who are very valid in the industry who don't want to see the playoffs come down to one race, and because you had a right front rotor blow up, you can't win a championship. Talking about Christopher Bell. That's not fair. That's not right. That's not how champions are crowned in one race situation. There's no sport in the world that has a one like you think about, stick and ball sports. Super Bowl, I guess, yeah, is a one game kind of championship, but baseball 7 games, basketball 7 games, even in some like there's championships in soccer that are awarded by aggregate goal. You play a game at home, you play a game away. So I think there's changes that could happen there. So horsepower and playoff format to me are two of the big things. I'd love to see them come up with a consistent tire package. I think there's something to be said about they change the tire for every race. And I don't know. I'd like to see something a little more consistent where it's not like one week you come with piss in the bucket and you get a race like Bristol, and then some weeks you come with something like we saw, what was it, North Wilkesboro, where Joey Logano ran 160 laps on one set of tires. Like, I feel like Goodyear does the Lord's work, first of all. Can we just stop and give them their flowers? Goodyear does the Lord's work because they are pretty much responsible for a lot of the entertainment of what we get because of the way that the tire falls off and the way that they position that tire for different tracks. What's up, Matt? Good morning. Matt Deason in the chat, everyone. Big round of applause for Matt. Big dubs in the chat for Matt. We love Matt. Stage breaks to me, I just don't think I don't think it's something that they're going to think about getting rid of. Because it's too good for TV. My final 4. Oh, I missed this. Sorry. I apologize, Dubs World. I have 2 tabs open and I missed you. My final 4 is the 11, the 12, the 20, and 24. That's a solid final 4. It's a solid final 4. Yeah, I think the other part, well, as we're going down the list, we have horsepower, we have playoff package, we have tires, and I think Matt is right on the money. Number 5 is the aero package. These cars are just bricks on wheels at certain points, right? Where it breaks the air up so much behind that you can't do anything. And it's tough. It's tough to see happen. You know, so I'd love to see them make those changes. And I think then you get into the things like the stage breaks and other opportunities to improve the racing. But right now, it's tough. I think there's big fish, there's small fish to fry. It's not an easy one to tackle, but I don't know. Stage racing to me is on the list. It's just not at the top of the list right now. I think they can start making adjustments to stage racing at road courses. I think that's where the best opportunity is to see how it works. Because at the end of the day, I don't think this is a hot take. The series is beholden to the television partner and the viewership number and the people who are invested in the sport. So it's not rocket science to think that they're going to come up with the most entertaining product, regardless of what we think the racing product is like. If you want to see great racing product, go out to your local short track where there is no TV, where there is no stakeholders and shareholders and money. Go out. That to me, I do that every Saturday, but I don't know. It's hard. They won't ever make me the NASCAR czar. So everybody's got opinions, and we'll see what happens. How far does Bubba go into the playoffs? I think he goes to at least the round of 12 now. I don't think he's the first round out. I don't think that's real for anybody anymore. Get rid of the underbody panels. Yeah, anything to adjust the aero to make it faster. Get drivers in a room and ask them what they want. A driver's council, and ask them what they want to see different, and try to make inroads to make it different. That's what should be happening. I imagine it is at some level. I know they have like a driver council for playoffs and some other things. So they're taking feedback. It's just, how do we get that feedback into actionable insights on the track? And I don't know. I sit here and talk on the computer. There's people in boardrooms who make a lot more money than I do to make those choices and to shape the future of the sport. So, but I agree. 4 stages, they were too spread out and people were praying for cautions. Now people want to get rid of it. Yeah, that's why I'm kind of nervous about it too. Because right, if Briscoe comes correct last night, you know, he was out to almost a 7-second lead at one point in this race. He would have been gone. You would have had no chance of seeing a Tyler Reddick, you know, maybe on a green flag pit cycle. Something would have had to have gone disastrously wrong, and the field would have shrunk back, and it would have been different. But it's tough. Now, if you make the cars more competitive, then maybe if you give the cars more power and there's not as much aero blocking, maybe yes, you can get rid of stages because now cars can drive back up to their competition a little bit more strategically. I don't know. I'm not an aerodynamic engineer. Anyway, let's keep rolling here. My favorite body styles cars from the 1998 season for the cars that rounded body designs. Gen 4 cars, those were the ones. Speaking of Gen 4 cars, I guess I'll talk about it a little bit now. We're going to do a giveaway. I have to talk to Taylor. I want to do it through ATYL as well. But at least for Sal, I will be giving away a Martin Truex Jr. Busch Series championship car. The chrome one. So if anybody's a big MTJ fan, keep your eyes peeled over the next week or so, because we're going to give this car away. I have never done a diecast giveaway, so we're going to set up some requirements for folks to kind of follow along in the whole thing, but I figured I'd show you all here on the live. So for those interested, this is going to be something we give away here in the next couple of weeks. So, or the next week or so, once I get the giveaway itself set up. I'm hoping to extend that to ATYL and everyone as well, but I would love to do something like this and help kind of add to someone's collection. Oh, thank you for the gifts. I appreciate it. So even if you're just collecting casually, this was Truex's first. If you've been around long enough, you know we're big Truex fans. This was his first championship of any type in a national series. In 2004, running in Chance 2 Motorsports, was kind of part of that DEI-backed family of racing where Dale Jr. and Steve Park, and there's a lot of good history. There's a lot of interesting history back there, which is dope. And it's the 8 car, so there's a little bit of nostalgia and prestige there to see. I don't know. It's always interesting to see drivers that aren't Dale running the 8. And that's something that happened fairly regularly in the early 2000s in the Busch series. So I know Steve Park ran the 8, Truex ran the 8. A lot of different drivers have kind of been in and out of that. So big diecast guy. We have a bunch of them sitting around. Very cool stuff. So always trying to. I'd like to do more giveaways depending on how this one goes. So if you're interested, just keep your ears open. Share it with your friends when it goes live. Help kind of build the community here. I want to do some more diecast specific content because I have a lot of diecasts. I have too many diecasts. I gotta get a case. I gotta get a better case. But I have a lot of diecasts, and it's, you know, I'm also like looking to purchase people's collections, like full collections. Like if you have like a box somewhere, it's like, hey, I want to get rid of this, or somebody, you know, I want to get rid of this. And it's in a box, and I'll give it to you for this many dollars. I would love to like repurpose those items and give them away back to the community. So I don't know if people have that available, like, or if you're looking to unload things, but that's how I would like to do things. Or if people have collections that are going to the thrift store, or they're cleaning out grandpa's closet, or whatever the situation may be, that's something that I you know, I'd love to get a piece of and kind of express. I'd kind of like to give back to the community in that way, where it's I'm buying it and then giving it away. So we also have a new partnership with the Wander Club, by the way, which are these little guys. If you haven't seen the ads for these all over your paid ads algorithm, I've seen them all over mine, but they're these little like charm johns. So every time you go out to the racetrack, you can buy one of these now. And instead of bringing home a diecast, you can bring home like this cool keychain. I'm a keychain guy, so this was something cool. They're a great partner for us right now, and they're helping us over here on the slide job south side of the world. So I do not have the Earnhardt Daytona flip car. I don't have any like damage specific diecasts. Almost bought a Chase Elliott damaged car one time, but I have a hard time buying those things. They're all beat up and busted. It's like I'm gonna spend a lot of money on diecasts. So I'm gonna buy one that's like a race one version of something. Anyway, okay, it's 9:20. But keep your eyes peeled for that giveaway. So let's talk a little bit about worldwide technology, right? Let's talk about St. Louis. Any predictions? Do we have any predictions for worldwide technology? Because I am very much in the camp of a Ryan Blaney win right now. You know, Daytona's one that's like, okay, 13th to 1st in a matter of moments. But like, this is a calculated track. This is a place you come with a correct setup. And I think Ryan Blaney is going to be in victory lane next weekend. Something tells me that Logano could be sneaky, could be buttery, could be slippery. But I just, something feels like where Ryan Blaney in years past, you know, there's been situations where he's waited till Martinsville to win and really taking it down to the wire. And it's been stressful for him. I think he's racing better now than he has in even his championship year, to be honest. So I think that's going to be, I think that's going to be a big weekend for, I think it's just going to be a big weekend for Penske in general. The 2-car winning there last year was kind of a fuel mileage deal, right? So that might not be the same. But I think Blaney gets it done next week for sure. Could be wrong, but next week is also the final weekend for Xfinity before their playoff starts. Now they do a round of 12. So they start in a round of 12 for their playoff. So they will go to St. Louis next week. I mean, Connor Zilic has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 wins. 8 wins. He's 8 wins this year. So I don't know who's going to win in St. Louis in the Xfinity Series. I think the Xfinity Series, there's a little bit more of a mixed bag. But Sam Mayer runs good at these. Yes, he won in Iowa. These types of tracks he's very well suited for. I think the Allgaiers of the world and the Austin Hills and the Jesse Love, we haven't seen a ton. Jesse Love won in Daytona in February. And we haven't seen much out of Jesse. We haven't seen much from Jesse Love in terms of wins or in quite a while. So maybe there's a surprise there. Yeah, I definitely have to ask you about some of the stuff you have, Grey Wolf. I'm into it. As long as I'm into it. Cool. But yeah, the Xfinity Series going to wrap up their final regular season race at St. Louis at Worldwide Technology Raceway. It's hard to say that Zilic won't win again. Corey Heim winning this week at Darlington. This is already their round of 10. They start with 10 playoff drivers. So he's already through to the next round. I don't see Corey Heim slowing up or stopping. I think he could win every race. He could win out the rest of this year. But Corey Heim, at Darlington. Bristol is up next. The Lane Riggs of the world, I think, is I don't know who maybe you might get in a truck next week, though, for doing double duty. We saw Kyle Larson do this earlier in the year as well. So maybe some folks who want to do some double duty. Then you got New Hampshire, Then you got the Roval, Talladega, Martinsville, and Phoenix. I mean, for me, the Truck Series is getting hard to focus on and be actively involved in as a fan because, and it's, I guess it's great for Corey Heim and it's bad for everyone else. It's just you turn the TV on and the 11's up front. The 11's out front by a mile and a half, and it's not even close. So good for them. They deserve to win this championship. And if it was up to me, we'd hand them the trophy now. But you know, I'm not sure how competitive it'll look or feel the rest of the way out for the trucks, but Corey Heim, I mean, I would pencil him in for a win every step. I would love to see the 52 get back in victory lane this year with Caden Honeycutt. I don't know where that makes sense for him, but that would be really cool, especially with everything with Stuart Friesen as he's going through his recovery and isn't racing. And after that accident and that dirt modified, that kind of really, really hurt to watch. I can only imagine what he's going through in his recovery. And we think about him regularly, but Honeycutt's been really good in that 52. They had some issues this week at Darlington that kind of took them out of contention, but I don't know. There's been a lot of good things about that 52 car that 52 truck that have been a positive in the whole situation that they're in, that team and that ownership group and Stewart and everybody who's involved. So let's go to Twitter. I always like to do this toward the end of the show where we just kind of surf on social. Was Darlington a good race? 62% of people said Darlington was a good race. A lot of the time when these Darlington races go like this, where you get somebody who leads 300 some odd laps, folks at home just don't seem too locked into that. And I understand that. But I thought this was a good race. For what you have to understand what the car is and what the tire is and what the track is. And I thought they put on a show at the end. I thought Tyler Reddick being able to hang in there was awesome. Trying to take a shot at Briscoe late. I thought that was really cool. 62%. Imagine if we could pass 99% for sure. Maybe. Definitely maybe. I would love to see more passing happen at these tracks. I mean, it felt a lot like Homestead last night from a couple of years ago. And I don't know, it's like you're right on that edge of being able to, it looks like on TV, they make it look so attractive where it looks like they're just going to rip around the top. But you saw it late last night. Briscoe was able to just kind of aero block the 45, Tyler Reddick. Reddick's trying to get down into a different lane, try to throw something different at him just to throw him off or whatever, try to make a move. And I don't know, it just wasn't happening. It just wasn't happening. It's just not the way this car is set up to run in any manufacturer for any team, for anywhere. I don't know. It's frustrating for sure. I can only imagine being there and being a part of a group where you're in second place and you are. And it's like, what are you going to do? What can you do? I don't know. I feel like the hole in the wall next to the desk trying to figure it out every week gets bigger and bigger. Let's see. Taylor and team were at the track this weekend. We had ATYL was all over. We had folks at Nashville. Andrea was out there. John was out there too, I think, at Nashville for the finale of IndyCar. Joseph Newgarden winning at his home track. And then Buddy and Dom and Taylor were all at Darlington as well. So I'm sure you'll see some great content coming up from them based on Darlington last night. What do we think of the camera angle, by the way, that showed a host of ours big slide? They used it for a clip on social. Was a big fan of that camera angle on the exit of, I think this is turn 4. When you come out second at restart, you're going to stay there until lap cars cause chaos. Yeah, it's a shame that that's the way this works. Like the battles on pit road mean so much more because the only way you're going to pass is lap traffic. Like, because that's what's going to disrupt the air in front of the leader. That was something I sat here and observed. Kind of, I'm not in the industry. I'm not an expert, but you could see. You could see that if nobody was going to pass Briscoe, that car was going to run. Nobody did pass him. He ran at the front the whole night. Like, when was he in traffic? at all for any kind of sustained level of traffic for him. I don't remember. If it was, maybe it was a couple of laps throughout the race, but it felt to me that he was in the front, at the front, remained at the front the entire time. He didn't lead every lap because he had to come down pit road for green flag pit stops, but he was never in the pack where he had to really battle through traffic the way that Reddick did, or even Eric Jones did, or at certain points the 5 car did, or any of those, anybody. It's got to be incredibly frustrating. It's frustrating to watch at home. If that makes, I don't know if that makes anybody feel better. Nick spotting for Tyler Reddick. It's. I mean, the frustration level has to be through the roof for you. It's frustrating for us at home though too, where you know, love to see good racing, but it felt like the 45 had the speed to get to him, but just it's like a magic trick. Like there's two magnets just pushing them away. You know, it's one of those deals. What do you do? What can you do? I don't think, and I'm not the expert, but I don't think there's a ton you could do. It was a good night for it was a good night for 2311, but it was a good night for Legacy too. I was impressed with their performance. Yeah, Jeff tweeted last night, man, these guys who lost track position are really having a hard time getting it back, and it's because of the car. What are you gonna do? I feel like we talk about it every week. And then you end up stuff that happens on pit road. I couldn't believe the amount of calamity we saw on pit road this weekend. I couldn't believe it. I just a lot of back and forth. A lot of spin arounds. A lot of guys pitting outside of their own boxes. Pit road seemed like it was a firestorm for a lot of drivers, but I don't know. It's tight at Darlington. It's not easy to get down that pit road in the first place. Like, I was really surprised that there was not an incident entering pit road where it's everybody's checking up and everybody's grinding up and there's debris down on the bottom of the track, and everybody made it through okay in that respect. But then getting into the pit boxes was tough. Bell and Hocevar got crossed up. 48 gets stuck. Who has the right of way? Who doesn't? I don't know. You do get free chips and queso at Cheddar's today, though. By the way, make sure you tell your server that the Kyle Busch sent you free chips and queso at Cheddar's. There's not a Cheddar's within 500 miles of me, so I will not be partaking in chips and queso today. I do have some street corn dip from Costco though, which let me tell you, I've never had Cheddar's queso dip, but I bet my street corn dip is just as delicious. I bet you it is. What happened with Larson all of a sudden started dropping like a rock? Just the pit cycle with some of the tires and stuff, I think just didn't work out for the 5. The Hendrick camp all night kind of struggled. It was not an easy deal for them to try to get to the front and stay at the front. No, Cap, there are no holidays for me, brother. I also just part of the reason I'm here is because I forgot to tell Taylor that I wanted to move the show to tomorrow. So that's part of it, but I'm glad that we're here because I thought we had a good race last night at Darlington. I think people have to just come to appreciate that a good old fashioned ass whooping is part of the sport. Are they awesome to watch? Are they super entertaining? No, not always. Almost never, actually. But I thought the 45 really turned the screws up at the right time to try to make a push. I thought Ross Chastain raced really well last night. 2311, the 23 car raced really well last night. There were some good moments through that race that were entertaining. That the result won't show, but to me, it was cool. First time watching since the Gordon days, and it seemed like no passing at all. Yeah, you're correct to feel that way, Ken. You are correct to feel that way. That is kind of the vibe of the next gen car, where there is very limited passing happening. We had Nick Payne in here earlier, spotter for the number 45, Tyler Reddick, and it's just part of this racing product where if you can't get position out of pit road, you're probably not going to be able to make a move for the lead, or unless there's an untimely caution or lap traffic. I get it. I get it. I get it. It's frustrating. It's frustrating. You know what somebody needs to explain to me is why they rolled the 21 through tech last night. What were they going to do? They were gonna send it to the Xfinity series if he didn't pass tech. Like the car was in pieces. The sneezes have been intense this morning. Yeah, I don't know. I thought it was good racing. The track is always Darlington though. Like the silver lining here is that the track is always really exciting to see. Like it's a great racetrack. It's a great facility. There's always a ton of fans. Everybody always is partying and having a good time. That kind of daytime to nighttime vibe where the sun goes down and it's that Darlington sunset. I think is something special and unique that you get uh, you really hear and not too many other places. It really kind of personifies like old school NASCAR racing. Now I can't say much for the rest of it. There's people, but people love coming here and they love being a part of the action at this track. Um, there's lots of opportunities for drivers to outdrive their stuff. I thought Ross did a great job last night, considering where the 99 was, and the 23 had a great night. The 45 had a great night. Not not going to win every race, but great great nights. I just don't think Briscoe was going to be beaten in general. He came with the right stuff to win. Oh my god. It was interesting to see some of the green flag cycles though. New tires versus old tires was fun. There was some great racing too. One thing I want to make a note of while we're here. Um the focus of the broadcast to put on guys trying to stay on the lead lap at the end of the first stage was awesome. Was awesome. That's some of the best racing in the field sometimes is guys trying to get their lap back or be the first car a lap down. And I know it's not sexy. I know it's not a great storyline where it's like, oh, Shane Van Gisbergen gets his lap back to be the lucky dog. But the racing product back there where they're all racing around the leader, trying to be respectful and but at the same time running their race and trying to set themselves up. I thought that, yeah, SVG being able to kind of get two for one there, between the 43 running and a couple other guys, that was great racing early on in the stages. I don't think we can forget about that. And I know it's not sexy. I know it's not awesome. People aren't going to be like, oh my God, we're talking about how great the racing was for the lap cars. Cars are on track. I mean, I thought that was good. I thought that was good racing, and I'm glad that they focused on it because it really kept things exciting early in the broadcast. Oh, starting to get into NASCAR, but I get bored watching it anyways. Keep it interesting. Do fantasy. Fantasy NASCAR is really cool. Kind of keeps you locked in on different drivers throughout the field that you select every week. There's some great technology that we have now through HBO where you can get the in-car cameras if you're so inclined to do that subscription, or you already have that subscription, where if you have like an iPad, you could set it up and kind of watch the in-cars while you're watching the broadcast. It definitely gives a different perspective. For me personally, I always am scrolling Twitter during the race with all the folks who I follow, in the NASCAR media space and drivers and teams. And there's some great social accounts out there for the teams that are worth a follow for sure, to kind of keep you entertained throughout the night. RFK is one of the top ones. Their social team does a wonderful job of keeping things interesting. Drivers too, like Carson Hocevar, great on social. Noah Gregson, great on social. So there's some people out there where you can. It's not always about the broadcast itself that's keeping it interesting, but there's many layers to it for sure. You can get involved at different places. Oh man. Okay, sorry. I'm clicking back for it. Nicholas is in the chat in the YouTube. Doesn't Wendy's give something for free if Trackhouse get to top 10? I have no idea. So yes, at participating locations for a limited time, Wendy's will give away a free Frosty with a purchase to customers on a Monday following a Trackhouse driver finishing in the top 10 in a NASCAR race. And when it's only available at participating locations through the Wendy's app and requires account registration and an additional purchase. There is your Wendy's giveaway. Sorry, I have to blow my nose again. I guess my brain is just drooling out of my nose. I don't know. Yeah, but I thought it was a pretty good race. Okay, I've watched 4 races this year: Daytona, Charlotte, Coda, and Sonoma. Yeah, Daytona's always one to watch. Charlotte's a great race. That was a super entertaining one. Circuit of the Americas, not my top in terms of road courses. I think if you're going to watch a road course, Watkins Glen or maybe the Chicago Street Course is one that is worth your time. Sonoma's good too if you're into SVG. You know what you're kind of getting to a certain degree on these road courses. There's some cool stuff that happens. I think we're in for good times in the playoffs here now too. I think you're gonna get a good race in St. Louis next weekend. I think Bristol's going to be a good race. I think they're finally going to figure that place out. I do. I really believe that Goodyear is going to figure it out with the tire. I think they're going to bring the Richmond tire and just let them run that. I think that'll be sick. Shred that thing. Cheese grate it. Yeah, Coda's one of those funny tracks. I don't know. It's built for F1, so it's interesting that NASCAR runs there. They run a different configuration than F1 does because the straightaway is almost too long for the way that the cars are set up now for the Cup Series. But Coda is a cool track. It's in a great market. I think that racing will be kind of akin to what we see in San Diego next year, in June of next year. That'll be a ton of fun. Also, too, some off-track news, I guess we didn't really touch on, is the lawsuit stuff with 2311 and FRM and NASCAR. I don't know if anybody has any opinions on that, but it certainly seems to be picking up in a big way. There's certainly some news there that is, those text message chains were interesting to say the least. I don't know who it helps. I don't know who it hurts. I don't know what it does, but it's enlightening for the fan base to see kind of what the sentiment is from inside of each of these camps, respectively, between the teams and the governing body. There was the most interesting, there was a lot of like profanity and things like that got tossed around. And the thing I think that was the most interesting to me was that some of the executives at NASCAR kind of talked about how they wanted to keep it the way it was in like the 90s, how they wanted that level of control, I believe was one of the conversation threads that they were having. And I struggle to see how they're going to do that with people like Michael Jordan in there. One of the other things I found interesting was in a conversation, I guess Jordan was having with Polk or somebody at 2311, and you don't quote me because I'm not a lawyer. Talking about bringing on the 35 and paying for that charter for the future. And he's like, "Oh, well, I've lost more money in a casino than I've paid for that charter." And like that's what it sounded like to me. And if I'm wrong, somebody please correct me because I don't want to be spewing something that's not right. But that's what it seemed like to me when I read it, which is crazy. Which is crazy to me. So just the money is so, I think at the end of the day, it's like everybody's picking a side, but let's not forget these are billionaire owners battling billionaire families that run the series for more money, for more power over the sport. So it has to happen because we're not going to go racing. I don't think there's sustainability in the series long term if they don't figure this out. Obviously, I don't think, you have to get it figured out. But these are billionaires battling over the future of the sport. So it just I see all the lawsuit news and then I take it with a grain of salt. Denny started a nonprofit. Denny stated no profit in ownership. Jordan stated they have been very profitable. I don't know. You hear Jeff Gordon talk about how Hendrick hasn't turned a profit in 15 years. What is true, what is not? How do you as not you, but like how does a business or a team, how do they quantify profitability? How much money are they putting back into their teams? Are they buying and selling charters? What are they doing? What do their sponsorships look like? What is their, there's teams that make plenty of money. What they show in profitability may not be what the reality of their profitability is. Like that's any big business, especially when you get into the sponsorship world and you're taking money for marketing and you're showing KPIs and turnarounds, and it gets very businessy. And a lot of people aren't interested in the businessy side. They're interested in the racing side, which, believe me, I'm here for it. But I think the businessy side is what lays the groundwork for why the racing is the way it is. I mean, for 2311 and for some of the other teams involved in the lawsuit, but Hendrick does sponsor Kyle Larson's car. He's their primary, but they're making money on that sponsorship. Like, I don't know how they quantify like a conversion, right? That's from the marketing world. How do you quantify a KPI for that sponsorship? How do you show that sponsorship is giving the HendrickCars.com good ROI? How can I know? Are people buying more cars from HendrickCars.com because of Kyle Larson? Like, how do you capture that information? I think is tough. But I think what it does do is it puts Hendrick in a position to utilize their dealer network with other sponsors on other cars. So like if HendrickCars.com can help supply a rental car company, or HendrickCars.com comes with, HendrickCars.com gets a discount on insurance that maybe is on another car, or products that are on another car, or another sponsor is involved where those two sponsors can see profitability from each other. Maybe that's a drivable KPI. I don't know. I'm sure that whatever loss they take, they write off from their marketing expense, because that is something that they can do. I heard the foot traffic on the website increased a boatload once Larson came on board. And if that's the KPI they're using, which is the one I would use, is site traffic. If site traffic is up, that means sales are up to a certain extent. You're never going to be able to tell. You're never going to be able to sit there and say this person bought a car from us because they saw Kyle Larson on the racetrack. But if there's 10,000 more people visiting your site because Larson is on track, odds are people are converting from that. You can't pick them out. It's like picking a needle in a haystack. You're not going to be able to pick them out individually because you don't have that data collection from, hey, dad, I saw HendrickCars.com and I like Kyle Larson. Let's go buy a truck. Unless you walk in and tell the sales rep that's why you're there. It's really difficult to capture that information. But it obviously is profitable enough to continue to make sense, not just for a couple of races, because Hendrick has him on, they're on there the whole year. But I mean, you don't think they could sell that sponsorship, that driver, to another sponsor? Like the guy's winning championships in a HendrickCars.com car. They could sell that sponsorship to somebody else, but they choose not to. That's how much, think about it that way. That's how much money they're making. Anyway, I don't know where that rant started, but that is, I don't know. I'm lost now. Oh, we started with the lawsuit stuff. Yeah. I know that there was some interesting news too in a now deleted tweet. In a now deleted tweet, there was some news. I'm going to see if I can pull it up and read it because I don't want to misquote. Okay. So it was deleted. So I don't know. Jenna Fryer had tweeted that 2311 said that in a court filing, it will suffer irreparable harm if it does not receive its charters back because Tyler Reddick had given them a breach of contract notice and sponsors were starting to scale back. That was before the teams were in court this past Thursday. So that's something to think about also, where Reddick and Bubba have written in their contracts that they will race for charter teams, not open teams. So if they choose to enact a breach of contract, that's up to the driver. Now, if that's up to the driver alone or that's at the behest of their management or whoever, we don't know. But that's going to become a concern if these charters do get sold out from underneath the teams. Now, it seems like NASCAR is going to take a step back from that. That was a very aggressive move by them to go into that court date saying, you know, we're going to sell these out from under you. We have buyers. We want to move on this. Good luck. We'll see you in December. It seems like after the court hearing that they are taking a little bit more of a conservative approach and they are going to wait and see because they do not want to pay the irreparable damages to the teams if they sell those charters out from under them and the teams win the lawsuit. How are none of these drivers trying to be in the limelight? Earnhardt was on TV all the time. I don't see you guys being like that. I think we just live in a different age of media where the TV time isn't, you know, TV time is great, but I think there's drivers out there who are big on social and are big in people's, you know, play a role in people's lives digitally. And it's the attention economy is much different now than it was. I do think there's drivers who should be more focused maybe on their TV presence and their brand, but NASCAR is a unique sport in that these guys are athletes and they're very private. They keep their private lives very private versus sports like I think of the NFL a lot, where you have a lot of different storylines, guys on the field, off the field, it all kind of, well, yes, Chief, that is who it comes to mind immediately. But you know, NFL, you know, on the field, off the field stuff, it bleeds over. It's TV, it's time on television. I don't know. If I've said it once, I've said it a million times. You know, Chase Elliott, the most popular driver in the series. We heard from him last night because he was upset with Hocevar, but we don't hear from him much more than that. I don't. If I was a driver, or if I was a manager of a driver or part of team management, you know, not just for the drivers for the sake of the teams, but for the drivers for the sake of themselves to build their own brand, you'd think they'd want to be more in the limelight. And listen, you don't have to be like, this isn't Love Island. You don't need to be doing that. This isn't the Jersey Shore. You can be on TV responsibly and have a presence and show your personality. I think Denny does a good job of it with the fishing stuff that he does, but that's social content, right? So he does some social things and does some fishing things. And I think Noah does a good job with some of his sponsors, and Carson does a good job with Chili's, and John Hunter does a great job too. I think John Hunter, I don't know how public people know it is, but John Hunter has a whole YouTube channel where you can kind of go through and see week to week vlogs about his experience at the racetrack. And he's had, you know, Tyler Pinnell's been on doing some of his stuff with him. He works with content creators and people in the community. So there's all kinds of opportunities out there. I don't think you can't sit there and talk about the Hendrick drivers because they're not as engaged with media. And that's by design through the team. They don't want them doing that. They want them out there winning races, and that's it. If that's your brand strategy, go with God, you know? It's not what I would do, but they don't answer my phone calls. I love Bubba's kind of in the spotlight. You know, it hasn't always been, people have always taken that and misconstrued his time in the spotlight. I think Ryan Blaney does a great job on TV too when he gets the opportunities. He's another one who's starting to ramp up some more of the social media stuff that he does. Austin Cindric is a great personality. I just don't think he runs competitively enough for them to put him on TV more. I think Austin Cindric could be a stand-up comedian. I mean, the guy's funny. He's got good personality. He's just not always in a position to showcase that, I think is a good way to say it. But yeah, it's interesting. That part of it's very interesting in terms of off-track stuff and who's getting the attention and who's not. But anyway, anything special we want to cover before we wrap things up today? I don't really have too much more. We did a Spotify. On Spotify now. It will go live on TikTok this week. We had Captain Killam. He's one of our longtime friends of the content creator friends. We did an episode of the Hot Lap Yap with him. That's the podcast version of this show that goes up from time to time when we do those interviews. You can listen on Spotify. The top 3 highest paid. Oh, here you go. Okay, I'll give you the answer. The top 3 highest paid NASCAR drivers in 2024. I know that's not now, but Kyle Busch, Denny Hamlin, and Martin Truex Jr. were the highest paid drivers last year. Kyle Busch was making almost $17 million. Hamlin was making just over $13 million, and Martin Truex was making about $10.5 million on their deals. With colleagues getting Ram trucks, will that affect our current Chevy alliances for Cup? That question is being asked. I don't know if anybody has an answer. Apparently, they're going to be 2 separate things, 2 separate shops, and they're going to try to operate it that way to get the opportunity to be a Ram truck partner. But you would think maybe it would. I don't know. Yeah, I'm in the wrong job too. There's, if you're Kyle Busch making $17 million a year running for RCR, that's why he went to RCR. Like, let's sugarcoat it. Like, we knew that the competition level at RCR wasn't the highest. He went there to get a bag. He went there to get his money. M&M's dropped out of JGR, so it was like, okay, what are you going to do? I don't know. I don't know the answer. Let's see. Let's see if we have a salary now. Cease to disclose earnings start. So NASCAR ceased to disclose race earnings starting in 2016. So we don't know in terms. You got to remember too, like that's not just their salary. So let's be fair, right? If you win races, you're getting purses, sponsor money. You're qualifying on the pole. You're getting a bonus. There's performance bonuses for finishing position and races won and all these different things. So keep that in mind as well. It's not like they just write them a $17 million contract. There's things that are contingent on performance, but that's still a tremendous amount of money to do anything, anywhere, in any field, at any time. Yeah, the passing was rough this week. It was not a great week for the passing. We got close on a number of occasions with Tyler Reddick. I thought they had something for him late in the game there, but like you say, I don't disagree. It is unbelievably difficult to pass at tracks like Darlington where they line up one by one, and unless there's lap traffic, it gets very dicey to try to make that move on the low line. Favorite track that I've been to. My favorite track that I've been to, probably Daytona. I went for the 500 a couple of years ago. I feel like that's everyone's answer, but I know like people complain about the racing product of the car at Daytona, but the facility, right? Like the facility that Daytona is world class. It's a world class facility. It felt like I was in a football stadium. So I sat way up high on the exit of turn 4. You could see most of the track, which was cool. Bristol I've been to. I think short tracks have the best viewing experience because you can sit almost anywhere and get a good viewing experience. So Bristol, Dover are two great tracks in terms of sit and see. You can sit it all. I've never been to Michigan. I enjoy watching the racing from Michigan a tremendous amount. I think that's one of the tracks that this car runs best on in terms of the intermediate tracks and the packages, the aero package that we have. You talk about not being able to pass and not having enough speed. Those 1.5 mile tracks seem to be the ones that make the most sense. And Michigan is kind of one of those places. Kansas, Michigan, Charlotte, all those kinds of places I think are good for this car. It was good to see Briscoe win. I mean, it was just a belt to ass dominant kind of spanking. They rolled the car off fast, and it didn't look any less fast the whole time. I mean, again, the 45 just trying to compete there at the end, but it's tough knowing when you come off pit road second that you're going to have a battle on your hands just because you can't pass as well as you want to. But yeah, I saw a tweet just now that said like Martin Truex retired in 2024. Chase Briscoe born in 2025. It feels like it fits in terms of for a number of things. I think what Briscoe is going to be the recipient of that Truex maybe wasn't late in his career is that Briscoe is a little bit more mild-mannered. He's a little bit more mild-mannered than Truex may have been at times in the past. And that may benefit Briscoe a little bit more. Rockingham looked good for the truck race. How long till Cup goes there? Probably not too much longer. I think you'll get some Cup racing. I think they'll do their 3-year deal with Xfinity and Truck. And then you got to remember too, Rockingham is for sale. So the folks who own that track now would like to sell the track with its existing NASCAR contract. And however they're going to do that, I'm not quite sure you'll get an addition. You won't get anything in addition to what we have now until that deal has kind of closed and new ownership comes in and can negotiate for a Cup race. Tell you what, somebody on Circle B auctions is just selling all of their Martin Truex stuff. It's just everything I've seen over here the last couple of weeks. Just somebody is cleaning out their collection, or multiple people are cleaning out their collections because a lot of it is for sale. I'm running out of room, so I can't buy any more of this stuff, but I am a collector in my own right. Next week they're at St. Louis at Worldwide Technology Raceway. Sorry. It's a unique kind of track where it's kind of big, kind of small. The corners are very. It's kind of like Darlington. Let me see if I can get a track map up. Yeah, so it's kind of paperclippy looking. If you've never seen this place before, let's see if I can pull it right here. So this is kind of the feel for it. Kind of the feel. This is, there's shifting points even in the Cup cars as they enter turns 1 and 2. So there's that added kind of aspect of what this race could be, where we've seen drivetrain failures and differential failures and transmission failures and clutch issues and all kinds of things. So, this is a track that tests every part of the car, every instinct the driver has. It is super unique in that way. So this is where the Cup Series will head next week. At the second race of the first round of the playoffs. If you're not unfamiliar with Worldwide Technology. Oh man, my phone is blowing up. About over here. Atlanta's a great track to watch too. Yeah, I love Atlanta. Atlanta's I haven't had the opportunity to go. I would like to go next year through work. They have some opportunities maybe for me to be able to get out there and do some things, but I would love to head down to Atlanta. Captain always tells me about Atlanta. That's his home track. he gave me the whole rundown about why Atlanta's so great for the new car, even, you know, for all the detriment that we talk about, where it's like, oh, the racing here is there. People really like it at Atlanta. And I think, you know, he explained that to me in pretty vivid detail in the podcast. So if you listen on Spotify, Hot Lap Yap, you can hear kind of his perspective. He's been to many, 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 many Atlanta races and has some good takes about it. Wilkesboro, North Carolina. There you go. Congratulations on the point payer next year. I'm sure you'll be out there. I'm excited for that race. I think that's going to be a great race. I think that track deserved a points payer. They did the experiment for 2 years and they brought it back. You know, my only complaint, and I haven't said this on the show, on the morning show here, but I think it's time that I do say it. We talked a lot about the schedule when it first come out, and the schedule was like a B+ to me overall. Some good things about it, some things I wish were different, but overall, really a strong schedule for next year. My only complaint is I do, after looking at it again and understanding kind of where the dates are lined up, I feel a little betrayed. The Northeast feels a little betrayed by this. I think the Northeast fans should feel a little betrayed by the choice that they made to do this. Oh, Jordan, what's up, dude? Thank you, man. Yes. Oh, here you are. Hold on. And then you need my legal name. If I can spell my own name, crazy. I just want to read it back to myself. Okay, this is my address. I'm going to make sure this is my address. We're going to make new crispy things. Jordan is here to help us kind of elevate the content experience. We're going to be doing some better things, hopefully. We're gearing up for end of this year. We're gonna dial it in and do some car content and some racing content and some other things too. So it'll be fun. But Jordan has been a blessing to me, helping me do this stuff. So I appreciate it tremendously. The Northeast should feel a little bit betrayed by the NASCAR Cup Series schedule next year. And I will explain to you why, and then we will wrap it up for the day. If I can pull up the schedule. Okay. So when it came out, it was cool, right? We're here for it. They're gonna do the Clash at Bowman Gray, great. Daytona's great. Atlanta's great. Coda, Phoenix, Vegas, Darlington, Martinsville. We're in good places, right? We're having a good time. And then we kind of just get all the stuff. Your legal name isn't Slide Job Sal? That's what my mother said in the hospital. She said, call him Slide Job. I feel like, what's that episode of Bob's Burgers? The lady who gives birth to the baby in the biker gang, her name is Mudflap. Dumb. That show's so good. But we get Watkins Glen and Dover back to back in May, right? Okay. So 2 races back to back regionally, which Watkins Glen and Dover are not close. Those are 6 hours away from each other. And then Pocono is in June. And then New Hampshire is in August. And again, not all these tracks are close to each other, right? So like Pocono and Glen are 4 or 5 hours away. You know, Dover and Glen are 4 or 5 hours away. New Hampshire isn't close to Pocono or New Hampshire or Dover, depending on where you are in the Northeast. And even outside of the Cup schedule, the Truck Series added more road courses, which is not a Northeast thing. When They could have gone back to some of their roots tracks in the Northeast. They didn't. And the Xfinity Series isn't doing anything special up this way either. So you get your 4 races. All those tracks have kind of had their dates cut back. Dover used to have 2. And I don't know. I think there's a miss there. There's a miss happening for the Northeast. There should be more for folks up here, because when they do go to these tracks, Dover was a sellout this year. And it rained. So yes, I do live in New Jersey. But there's lots of tracks that deserve different dates, and I don't want to upset all the nice people from the Carolinas that are in the chat right now, but the fact that you guys get 12 races a year in your own backyard is a little frustrating to the rest of us. I think that's fair to say. You get a lot of racing going on in the Southeast, and I know the sport's a Southeast sport. I get it, but I don't know. It's a little frustrating sometimes. It's like I plan my year. I know that I'm only going to 2 or 3 races a year. I almost went to Richmond this year. That's a 6-hour drive for me. I can't. That's not a weekend trip. If I'm driving 6 hours, I'm sleeping over somewhere a couple nights. It's a long haul. So I don't know. It's I want to do more at track content. I think that's a goal for me for next year. And we're talking with Jordan, and we're getting some content stuff figured out, and how can we make it better looking, better feeling. That's I've worked on over the last year or so, is just kind of refining the content instead of doing like green screen iPhone video, which we love green screen iPhone video for like quick news updates, but I'd love to like sharpen it up and be a little more professional and really take it more seriously over the next season. I think I've learned a lot of that. A lot of that inspiration has come from working with the fine folks at ATYL, and being influenced by other creators like Jordan, and trying to just be a little better. So we'll see. I appreciate everybody who tunes in though each and every week. We've got some good followership on the old Tickety Talk. I appreciate it. We got 16 new followers just today from this stream. I appreciate anytime people choose to come along for the ride and be a part of the content. It's always wonderful. I always appreciate the support. And again, too, I said it earlier, we're going to give away a diecast. This is an MTJ Busch Series Championship car. So I have this, I happened to buy 2 of them by accident. I bought an elite and a non-elite. So the elite stays with Sal. This one goes to one of you. So I'm excited to kind of give this away in partnership with ATYL, hopefully, and do some things there. So if you're following along, pay attention to the giveaway content. I'll do some, and we'll this is what the car will look like. Won't be this car specifically, but this is what essentially it will look like. I mean, hard not to like an 8 car. There's a lot of great looking 8 cars out there. But yeah, good times. I appreciate everybody being here. It's another great week. Southern 500. I know people are frustrated with the passing and the lack of it, but I think there's a lot of good silver lining that we have in the Cup Series and doing these types of things where this is what we have. And I think next week at St. Louis, I think you have to be positive. You have to look for good racing there. I think there's going to be some good racing. Really, really looking forward to seeing what 2311 can do. Bubba and Reddick look really, really good right now. So I wouldn't be stunned if you see them advance a little further than maybe you thought they would. Other drivers too, just getting better and better and better. But get your schedules put together. Well, I appreciate you popping in and stopping in and hanging out, Bob. That's what we're here for. The show's kind of designed to be chat driven. So without you guys, it's not as good of a show without you. So that's why we do these live. That's why we do these live every week. So I can't, it gives everybody kind of an opportunity to say their piece and be in the chat and talk about what they feel is important happening in the sport right now, or just what they like or what they want to do or what they're looking forward to. So that's part of the fun that I get to have doing this type of content. But I appreciate people for being a part of the chat. People don't have to be. Oh, no. Hold on. How do I tilt my head the other way? This is my retired Truex hat. Yeah, no, we're not Austin Dillon fans here. We have brains. But I appreciate everybody who jumps in and is a participant. I know, there's people who lurk around and just enjoy watching, and that's cool too. But I appreciate all the support and everybody who's trying to help us do things here. Always trying to do more. What are you collecting? Diecast or full-size cars? I mean, I'm always collecting. I collect a lot of like 160, not 164. Yeah. I collect a lot of regular, like, standard diecasts, and like merchandise and memorabilia. I know it's harder to see on TikTok, but on the ATYL stream on YouTube, you can see kind of a fuller picture of what I have on my wall behind me. I have a gas can, I have some body panels, I have all kinds of things that fill this room here. It looks like I joke people joke all the time that I have enough body panels now to make my own car, so that's always fun. The posters are cool. The old Dodge, that's like an original Dodge, like George Washington deal from back in the day when they brought the Challenger back. My SEMA poster. I have a portrait photo of Talladega. Some of the other tracks I have around the room here. Some little diecast piece of Gordon's car back there, the GMAC. My bolo tie. Some cool things. I try to collect some cool things for sure. But whatnot is a problem. I want to be a part. So there's so much content out there right now, like the unboxings on Whatnot, and the Pit Stop is one of those places. They don't pay me to talk about them, so this is a free ad for them. Joey Stone is somebody who I watch as a creator, watching the industry create, and he does a ton of the unboxings. I think they're partnered with him now, but really cool to see what people are selling on Whatnot. I feel like once I start, it will be a problem. And for me, I've had to train myself that if I'm going to spend money on diecast and on collectibles in this sport, that I'm very particular about what I'm looking for. And what I'm looking for probably isn't what everyone else is looking for. So like for me right now, I'm collecting the Truex Busch Series cars from 2004 and 2005, the 2 years he won the championship. I'm slowly grinding through that. Which, good news for me, is not everybody's looking for that stuff. So it's out there. It's not like I have to buy it all right now and it's going to run out and it's going to be gone. But I am looking for those things as a Truex fan and a future Hall of Famer he's going to be someday. So what's your stance on RCR being one of the Dodge track teams that come to come? We've been hearing about that for a couple of weeks. Dodge going to RCR in the Cup level. I think before anybody even starts talking about what teams are signing with Dodge for Cup Series, Dodge has to make an official announcement that they're going to come back to the Truck Series the Cup Series, which has not happened yet. So it's unique that there's already rumors linked to it. And maybe that is, they're going to come in and they're going to say, yep, we're back in the Cup Series. We're back with RCR. Maybe that's part of that announcement overall. But for me, I'm not holding my breath. I think it would be a huge shift for RCR after all the time that they've been with Chevrolet to go to Dodge. But we talked about it earlier in the show, and maybe it is time to evolve and get with the times and decide to be with a manufacturer that's going to give them more support than what they feel they're getting now. I don't know what that situation is, intense, I'm not a first party part of those situations, so I don't know what they're getting or hear what they're getting, but if they can do better than what they're doing now with another manufacturer, or even if it's like the rumors are pressure on Chevrolet even to come out and say, RCR, you're one of our long time teams. Like we do understand that we haven't given you the support that maybe you've expected over the last few years. Please don't go to Dodge. Please stay with us and we'll guarantee you a little bit more support. So maybe there's an opportunity to use it as a leverage piece as well. Thank you, Christian. I appreciate you, man. I love making videos about NASCAR and about racing and about cars. I want to do some more car content. I want to work on my Miata and I want to get that car on the track. Do some I want to fix that car up. and I want to go to New Jersey Motorsports Park, and I want to go run like just time attack days. I would like to do that. I do. I have a Miata and I have a 2015 Honda Civic SI, and I want to work on those cars. And I need to find ways to have disposable income, and I'd like to create some content around them so I can try to make myself feel better about spending the money on cars and cameras and all kinds of things that I'm spending money on that I shouldn't be. Anyway, it is GM. I don't know if it's all GM's fault. I'm sure that there's there's three sides to every story, right? But I don't think there's a bad opportunity for any team to be a part of whatever Dodge does decide to do or doesn't in the Cup Series moving ahead. I think Kaulig is going to be the benchmark next year. They're going to help set the tone for what Dodge is really capable of over the next year or two in the trucks. And I think based on that success rate, you'll see more conversation around them as an OE, and I think Honda too. I think Honda is going to come in as an OE, but we'll see how that all unfolds. There's conversation there about hybrid technology and all kinds of different things. So, yeah, it'll be different, but I am already over 20 minutes. I appreciate everybody for being here. We will catch you next week. Good luck. Worldwide Technology Center, Ryan Blaney.